Hello, and welcome to another episode of Ask Alice. Today, I'm going to answer one of the questions that I was given by my alpha reader, Andy. The question is, when Stefan and or Michael are not being pictured on screen in the book, what are they doing? Which is kind of a fun question. So, we'll talk about it in the context of book 1 and 2, since these are the books that you know about, even though I know what they're up to in many later books. In book 1 and 2, when Stefan is not on screen and is not actively doing his job of guarding Alex, he tends to spend a lot of time with his father training. The reason being that he spent so many years with Alex in the woods, he didn't get the opportunity to train with the Royal Guard or the Knights the way he would have as the General of Dayton's son had he been in Dayton. So normally the general's sons, like Caleb, for example, Caleb spends a great deal of time training with his father. That's why he is such a good archer, because his father is the head of archers of Dayton. So he spent his entire childhood following his dad around and learning things when he was like 4 that the other knights and archers would not have learned until they were well into their teens. So it helped make him as exceptional as he is. And in the beginning of the story, Stefan is 12 when he takes Alex and flees to the woods. So he's followed his father. He's taken in and absorbed a lot of the training. But as you learn in the prequel, Aaron does his honor rite at the age of 13. So Stefan was a year away from his honor rite when he vanished. So he didn't get to do the honor rite. He didn't get to train with the senior guards. He only ever got to train with the younger guards. And because of that, he's making up for lost time. The advantage for him is being the son of Dayton's general, he gets one-on-one lessons with his father, which means his father can push him. And honestly, he pushes him hard enough in those one-on-one sessions that maybe last like an hour or two, he pushes him as hard in that hour or two that it's like the equivalent of a normal night getting like a week worth of training, just because he can make Stefan do individual things like that. And he knows what Stefan is capable of. Even though Stefan is now an adult, he is still a Waffner. And Jerome knows just how hard he can push him. He knows what his body is physically capable of, and he's not going to let his son slack. So most of the time that Stefan is not guarding Alex, he's getting his butt whooped by his dad so that he can be even better at guarding Alex, because he knows that girl gets into crap. The other stuff he does is he's studying as well. He's in the library. He's learning about the history of the kingdom because he'd always expected to be in Dayton. Now he's in Warren guarding Alex, so he kind of needs to know more of the policies, learning the way that Alex is learning about the nobles and the history and things like that. He's also learning that so that he knows which families might have a vendetta against her, who are the ones that are going to be most likely to be unhappy with a female queen as opposed to having a king, who are more likely to have issues with her having magic. He's doing this kind of reconnaissance mission research in order to be prepared for what could eventually come up with Alex. And he's also getting one-on-one lessons with Matthew Bishop and Randall Nile for this particular stuff. Not as much the fighting, because they know they can't be, they know they're never going to be able to compete with Jerome and getting a Waffner to be up to par for fighting, but they are helping him understand the politics in Warren as opposed to Dayton, and how he's going to have to manage Alex and protect her in Warren versus how it would normally have been done in Dayton. Because up till the age of 12, he knows how to guard a Dayton royal, but Warren royals are different. They have a lot more freedom, and also we know with Alex, she just doesn't listen. So it's the negotiating of trying to figure out how to get a royal to do what you want when they don't want to do what you want them to do. So he's learning this kind of stuff. Now, Michael, in the first and the second book especially, in the second book, Michael is off with Aaron. That means he is off in the mountains. He's doing his job to help Aaron. He's kind of keeping the morale in the group high, especially with like Julius and Caleb and them. He's the jester that makes both the Warren and the Dayton guys laugh. So when he's not at Aaron's side helping and advising, he's out there making the knights laugh the way he would have at the camp in order to keep just the morale up. Because I mean, they're riding horses for a month in there. It gets boring, it gets redundant, and so Michael's making jokes and making them laugh. But in the castle, he's escorting Lady Jessica around, probably escorting her a lot more than he should be. He's just making a point that when he's not guarding Alex, he's just making sure that Lady Jessica doesn't need anything. He's, offering to take her to town when she needs to go pick up anything for Alex. He's right there. I'll escort you. That could be me. I'm not working right now. So he does a lot of following Jessica around. He's also training with Jerome the way that Stefan is. He's not as good as Stefan, clearly, and he takes a lot more work to get these skills and get himself caught up in that. So Jerome is putting a lot more effort into getting him, but he's also training him slightly different because he knows Stefan's physical capabilities and how strong he is. Michael's also strong, but he isn't strong to the same level Stefan is. So Jerome is training him more like he would train an average knight as opposed to a royal guard who is literally guarding the royal family. But it's also because he knows that it's almost like Michael is going to be the Warren guard guarding Alex, where Stefan will be the Dayton type guard guarding Alex. So he's getting lessons from Jerome, but he's also getting them from Matthew and Randall. And Michael gets the opportunity to train a little bit more with some of the Warren knights, like Julius is giving him pointers and that as well, because he feels more familiar and is more comfortable with the Warren style of fighting. You know, he's good with a bow. He's a little bit less hand combat, a little more talking his way out of things. So this is some of the things as well that he's learning. He makes that joke about how, I don't remember what book it's in, but he makes a joke about how he learns to lie because it's required in castle life. And so he's learning a little bit more intellectually how to manage her problems, handle situations like that. Stefan's learning brute force to deal with. Anything comes at her, he's gonna beat it up until it goes away. Michael's more learning how to negotiate and manage things through verbal and a quieter sense. And then in later books, clearly, you know, Michael's busy following Lady Jessica around because he thinks she's adorable. And she has absolutely no qualms with the handsome Sir Michael escorting her around. And when her brother shows up while she's being escorted around by Sir Michael, Stefan simply joins them because it's his sister and his best friend. And he's like, I don't mind. This is fine with me. So that's what Michael and Stefan are up to when they're not doing the job of guarding Alex. But they do spend a lot of their time guarding Alex. And sometimes they're not technically on duty, but they just hang out with Alex anyway. Like if she's going to the library to study and they have to study, they'll just go with her because they are still friends. And even though, because remember, in the woods, they were together almost 24/7. So the three of them, even when they're not with each other, they kind of end up with each other just because what else are they going to do? They're so accustomed to each other being around that not having each other around is a little odd for them. So yeah, they're good big brothers who don't really want to go away, which is good because I love writing them. So if you have any questions for me in my fun Ask Alice, drop them in the comments. I would love to answer them. Otherwise, I hope you guys have an awesome day. Bye and happy reading.